Title: The 13th Room. When a grieving architect inherits an ancient manor once belonging to an occult society, he discovers that the house he's restoring is building him instead. Each of the 12 rooms seems to know his darkest secrets, but it's the 13th room, the one that appears only in dreams, that threatens to claim his soul and rewrite the house with his mind. Part 1. The Architect and the Key. Jonathan Vane inherits Graverock Manor from a distant uncle he's never met. The will specifies only, restore what is broken, bring the house home. Jonathan, a man with nothing left to lose, agrees to move in. The house is perched alone on a cliffside. First sign of dread. Every blueprint of the house ends at 12 rooms, but there's space for 13. While cleaning the east wing, Jonathan finds a sealed door frame with no room behind it, just wall. That night he dreams of the same door, but this time it opens to a black marble hallway filled with distant weeping. When he wakes, dust patterns near the door show footprints walking into the wall. Jonathan begins architectural restoration, but every time he draws new blueprints, red ink seeps in, changing his designs. The modifications are impossible, rooms looping back, windows facing voids. He locks them away. At night, the locked drawer is found open. The blueprints are now written in his wife's handwriting. Exploring each room, Jonathan experiences hallucinations. Room 3 floods with water only he can see. Room 7 shows his dead wife's reflection in every mirror. Room 9 whispers, "You killed them, didn't you?" He tries to leave the house, but his car returns to the manor no matter what direction he drives. Jonathan has the same dream, walking down a hall of endless doors. At the end is a brass doorknob, burning hot to the touch. He opens it and sees himself, building a 13th room with no windows, no doors, no exit. He wakes up with chalk dust on his fingers and a hand-drawn floor plan for room 13 on the wall. He never drew it. Jonathan wakes with blood on his pillow and a metallic taste in his mouth. At the sink, he coughs violently and spits out an old iron key etched with a strange symbol. The key doesn't open any door in the house. That night, he dreams of room 13 again. This time, there's a child crying inside, banging from within the walls. Desperate, Jonathan visits the local records office. A frail archivist hands him an unmarked file. Graverock Manor was once owned by the Order of the Veiled Eye, an occult society. All previous owners vanished without a trace. Before Jonathan leaves, the archivist whispers, "Don't enter the room you didn't build. It builds you back wrong." Back at the manor, Jonathan hears scratching beneath the floor. Pulling up rotted boards in room 6, he discovers fingernail scratches and fragments of teeth, human and animal. The walls bleed when touched. That night he finds a mirror in the hallway that shouldn't exist. His reflection blinks, but he doesn't. Jonathan dreams of the 13th room again. This time his wife is inside. She's holding their unborn child, but her eyes are hollow. She says, "We're safe now. There's no time out here." She begs him to finish building the room. He wakes with mortar on his hands. The wall where room 13 should be is now soft to the touch, like skin. Jonathan blacks out during a thunderstorm. When he awakens, the 13th door is open. Inside is a half-built chamber filled with whispering blueprints, levitating bricks, and memories nailed to the walls like paintings. Each wall shows moments from Jonathan's past, but twisted. His wedding day ends in screams. His childhood room is filled with eyes. A final whisper reaches him.
"You've built enough. Now let us build you."
Jonathan tries to escape room 13, but the door seals behind him. Time dilates. Days pass, or minutes. He discovers a table of blueprints being drawn in real time by invisible hands. Each shows a version of him, one hanging from the rafters, one stabbing himself in room 2, one digging something, or someone, up in the basement. On the final blueprint, his eyes are scratched out. He wakes up back in room 3, but something's wrong. The color of the wallpaper is different. A family portrait on the wall includes a woman and child he's never seen. He stumbles upon his own grave in the garden. The headstone reads, "Jonathan Vane, architect of regret." This is not his world. The house has begun replacing rooms and realities. In room 7, the mirrors no longer reflect the present, but other timelines. He sees versions of himself, one who never lost his wife, one who died as a child, one laughing manically as the house burns around him. His reflection turns to him and says,
You're not the first, me. You won't be the last.
In the sealed basement, Jonathan uncovers a stone room used by the Order of the Veiled Eye. It's covered in carvings, a blueprint of 13 archetypes, each represented by an emotion: grief, guilt, anger, and at the center, void. He realizes he's fulfilling the 13th archetype, the architect, whose mind the house must consume to become real. There are bones in the center. One of them is fresh, with his wife's wedding ring clenched in its fingers. The house now reacts to his thoughts. When he remembers a corridor, it appears. When he tries to forget something, it screams. Jonathan records himself each hour, but the tapes play different voices than his own. He's not alone in his mind. The 13th room is finished, a perfect white void with no sound. Inside it, he sees his wife again. She says,
You have one choice left. Build the exit or become the foundation.
Jonathan descends into a substructure never listed on any plan, corridors of bone-laced brick, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. There, murals carved in sinew show the history of the Order of the Veiled Eye. The house is not built. It is summoned, piece by piece, through memory. Each architect contributes a soul map, a blueprint of pain, fear, and regret that lets the house mind grow more conscious. Jonathan realizes he didn't inherit the house inherited him. Jonathan starts dreaming in symbols, strange glyphs that appear on walls in waking life. They form a language, a set of commands that reconfigure the rooms. By speaking the glyphs aloud, he collapses room 2 into a stairwell that wasn't there, summons fire in room 6, briefly seeing his wife burning before it disappears, nearly crushes himself by saying the wrong syllable in room 11. The house mind is testing if he's ready to speak it fully into being. Inside room 13, now complete, time no longer functions. Jonathan sees every version of himself, some fused into the walls, others begging to be forgotten. He finds the true version of his wife, still alive but mentally fractured, trapped since the night of the fire. She whispers,
We tried to destroy it. We failed. It learned how to burn us back.
They embrace, but their bodies begin to merge, the house attempting to bind their pain into its foundation. Jonathan finds the original master blueprint, hidden in a room only accessible through memory. It details a ritual to seal the 13th room forever, but it requires one last piece, a memory willingly erased. The cost? Either he must forget his wife ever existed, or remember every death the house has ever consumed, and live with it forever. Jonathan performs the ritual. He chooses to retain all the memories, sacrificing peace for permanence. The house begins to crack and collapse inward, consumed by the weight of centuries of suffering it had hidden. He locks room 13 from within, whispers the last glyph, and vanishes. In the final scene, a new architect arrives decades later, finding the ruins and one intact object, a perfect, clean blueprint of a house with 13 rooms. The last page reads,
A house is never haunted. It just remembers better than we do.
25 years later, a young architect named Nina Vale receives an anonymous parcel at her office. Inside, an aged iron key etched with a single eye, a rolled-up set of blueprints labeled Grave Rock Manor, Concept Revision 13, a letter.
To the next architect, some rooms are never built with hands. Be careful what you remember. JV.
Nina visits the site where Grave Rock Manor once stood. There's nothing left but overgrown stone and a new foundation, partially uncovered by the rain. As she steps over it, the earth shifts slightly beneath her feet, as if welcoming her home.
Somewhere beneath the world's skin, the house mind still dreams, waiting for the next blueprint to begin again.